It's the first Sunday of autumn. Our Unitarian Universalist bylaws affirm 6 values centered in love and inseparable from each other. On the first Sunday of the season, we call to mind the first such value, interdependence. We honor the interdependent web of all existence. We covenant to cherish Earth and all beings by creating and nurturing relationships of care and respect. With humility and reverence, we acknowledge our place in the great web of life, and we work to repair harm in damaged relationships.
There's so many. It's choices. I have trouble with that. Okay, so we're going to be singing hymn number 2, Down the Ages We Have Trod. Please stand up as you are willing, able.
Good morning. I'm Elizabeth Williams. My pronouns are she, her, and hers, and I am your celebrant associate this morning.
And I'm the Reverend Meredith Garmon, Zizir, or he, him, interim minister to this congregation.
Welcome to the First Unitarian Church of Des Moines. Our building is located on land that has been home to humans for 12,000 years, starting with the people of woodland culture, and later the Iowa, Sauk, and Meskwaki. Other animals, such as the passenger pigeon, extinct since 1914, once flew over these lands. As we enter this space, the ghosts of humans and other animals past are among us. We are called to join in the work of education, reparation, and healing for all species.
We are a people not of belief or doctrine or dogma or creed, but of promise to walk together, of commitment to one another, of love, of covenant.
Our Unitarian Universalist values are a covenant to do the work of living those values: interdependence, equity, transformation, pluralism, generosity, and justice, all centered on love.
Our congregation's bond of union is a covenant to associate ourselves together for the study and practice of morality and religion as interpreted by the growing thought and noblest lives of humanity, hoping thereby to prove helpful one to another and to promote truth, righteousness, and love in the world.
Our congregation's mission is a covenant to love radically, grow ethically and spiritually, and serve justly.
In addition, we also have a relational covenant to care for our own well-being, each other's well-being, and the well-being of our community as a whole. We will recognize the inherent worth and dignity of all, be respectful and kind, value the gifts and individuality of all, listen with empathy and consider the impact of our words and actions, be patient and understanding with each other, find a pathway, and work for reconciliation. All of these expressions of the covenant that bring us together, bind us, and make us who we are.
Today is the first Sunday of autumn. The autumnal equinox happened at 7:43 this morning. The harvest moon was full on Tuesday night and is now waxing gibbous.
On the Christian liturgical calendar, today is the 25th Sunday of Ordinary Time between Easter and Advent. And as a note, ordinary doesn't mean not special. It's just called that because they use ordinal numbers to count them.
A special welcome to our visitors. For those of you on Zoom, thanks for tuning in, and please be sure your mic is muted. If you are here with children, there is childcare, or feel free to keep them seated with you or utilize our play area in the back.
Our mission is ethical and spiritual growth, and one of our values is transformation. We have a plan to help you grow and transform. It's described in the brochure, Thematic Ministry at First Unitarian. If you don't have a copy, there are copies of this brochure on the back table, and pick up a copy of the September issue of Connecting in the basket just outside the doors. And now, our chalice lighting.
On the first Sunday of the season, we dedicate our chalice to the value of interdependence. Please join with me in the chalice lighting words from Albert Schweitzer in your order of service. At times, our own light goes out and is rekindled by a spark from another person. Each of us has cause to think with deep gratitude of those who have lighted the flame within us.
This is my song, O God of all the nations, a song of peace for their Lamb God and mine. For other lands have sunlight too, and clover, and skies are everywhere as blue as mine. Oh, hear my song, O God of all the nations, a song of peace for their land and for mine.
My name is Faithiana Leonard. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I'm your Faith Formation and Congregational Life Coordinator. Today I will be reading the story The Hospitality of Pigeon by Taruna Bhakti. Once upon a time, there was a bird catcher. He went into the woods to look for birds and catch them. One day, as he was looking for birds in a dense forest, he caught that pigeon and put it in a cage. It was a female pigeon, and soon after, it started to rain. The bird catcher got all wet and started feeling cold, and he came near a tree and sat underneath it. After a while, the rain had stopped, and as a coincidence, the male partner of the female pigeon was in the same tree, and it saw the female pigeon in the cage. It said to the female pigeon, "Oh dear, should I attack the bird catcher and free you out of the cage?" The female pigeon said, "No, no, my dear. Do not do that, because he has a rest under our tree, where our house is, so he is our guest. And you should treat the guest very respectfully. In fact, I can see that he is really cold. Please help him to get warm." As male pigeon heard his female partner and went to the bird catcher and said, "Oh, bird catcher, you seem to be cold. Will I do something for you?" Saying that made the pigeon go away and came back with dry wood. The bird catcher lit a fire with the dry wood and then got warm. As he began to feel more comfortable, he started feeling really happy, and he said to himself, "Oh, I wish I could get some fruits here. I am so hungry." Hearing that, the female pigeon said to her male partner, "Did you hear that, my dear? The bird catcher is really hungry. So as a host, we should really take care of our guest's needs. Could you please go out and bring some fruit for him?" Listening to this, he went out again and brought back a lot of delicious fruits for the bird catcher. And as the bird catcher ate all of the fruit, he was very satisfied. And then he talked to the male pigeon and said, "Thank you. Thank you so very much. You know that I'm a bird catcher, but you still helped me. I'm so happy to know you, and if you wish, we can be friends. So what can I do for you, my friend?" Hearing that, the male pigeon said, "You know, bird catcher, the bird you have caught in the cage is my wife. If you really think we are friends, could you please release her? Because she is the one who told me that I should help you because you are our guest." Hearing that, the bird catcher felt very ashamed of himself. He not only released the female pigeon, but from that day onwards, he decided not to catch any more birds again. He changed his profession to something else, and from that day onwards, the bird catcher and the pigeon couple became very good friends. I also like to say that we invite any of our youth to come and join our classes during service as we're playing the children's benediction, and this will happen every Sunday following the story of all ages. We also like to say if you are interested in being a facilitator, you do not have to facilitate every Sunday during service. You can sign up for dates as needed. Please get in contact with me. Thank you.
Today's message is provided by the choir. Listen closely with a musical call and response. Yes, the community fair is next Saturday, starting at 4:30 p.m. with a potluck at 5:30 p.m. 53 church groups will be represented. a tapestry of folks who offer volunteer community services, connection groups, church leadership services, entertainment activities, church building and grounds projects, church music, and other service elements, physical and spiritual practice opportunities. You name it. And if you can't find it, you're always welcome to make it happen. Get details from group leaders and find your place in our community loom.
I want a big house, I want a big house. I want a big house, I want a big house. I want a big house, I want a big house. I want a big house, I want a big house. I want a big house. I want a big house with a big front door, wide enough to always fit one more. Where everybody's welcome, he's late when they leave, and if they walk in broke, well they walk out here. Tell me about the kitchen in that house. I said, tell me about the kitchen in that house. There's a big old table, wall to wall, with a seat for everybody, there's room for all. The poor and the shallow and the rich ones beneath, believers and skeptics and those in between. There's laughter and nodding and sharing of life, serving hope to the hopeless and offering light, a helping of love and a taste of truth when they come to the table with me and you. I want a big house with a big front door, wide enough to always fit one more, where everybody's welcome, it's late when they leave, and if they walk in broke, well they walk out here. Tell me about the outside of that house. I said, tell me about the outside of that house. There's a big old yard with no fence and no wall, where all the kids are welcome, come one, come all. No matter their color or class or creed, they run, they play, they're heard, they're seen. I want a big house with a big front door, wide enough to always fit one more, where everybody's welcome, it's late when they leave, and if they walk in broke, will they walk out here? I want a big house. 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 There is peace, there is love, there is joy in that house. There is peace, there is love, there is joy in that house. There is peace, there is love, there is joy in that house. There is peace, there is love, there is joy in that house. There is peace, there is love, there is joy in that house. Let's build a big house. Let's build a big house. I want a big house.
Talk about a tough act to follow.
My name is Anna Davis Evans, and I'm a pastoral care associate for this congregation. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. If you're going through any significant transition in your life, it can be helpful to process what you're feeling with a member of our pastoral care team. If this sounds like you, I encourage you to speak to me or another member of our pastoral care team, or to reach us at pastoralcareteam@ucdsm.org. Member Bob Belowski died September 11th. His wife, Margaret Carbeling, is working with Reverend Meredith on a service that will be held here at the church Saturday, October 5th at 2 p.m. We also extend our sympathy to Patty Cale Finnegan and Cale Finnegan on the loss of their mother and grandmother, Anita Cale. May our love and care surround Margaret, Patty, Cale, and all of those carrying a loss. Phyllis Swink shares that her husband, Caesar Smith, has been in the hospital for just over 1 week with pneumonia and has advanced Parkinson's. We send our collective good energy their way for health and strength. We also share that today, Jim Carty is celebrating his 64th birthday, and I hear that he has just gotten back from a week at the Upper Peninsula with his wife and some friends to celebrate. You can always request assistance, volunteer to provide it, or submit a joy or sorrow through our Caring Community page on our website, or by speaking to any member of the pastoral care team. Let us share together now the names of anyone we know who could use some special care and attention. You may call the name out loud or type it into the chat. As we share these names, may the love of this community hold them all.
Join with me in a moment of meditation or prayer. Dear Spirit of love, we hold and carry the fullness of life, all of life's beauty and all of life's tragedy. In this moment of giving articulation to some of what is weighing on our hearts and some of what lifts it up, we orient ourselves to a fuller engagement with our world in all of its grief and all of its gladness. We prepare ourselves for the lives of compassion to which we are called. The news out of Birmingham, Alabama this morning is that gunmen, plural, opened fire in a popular entertainment district last night, killing 4 people and wounding dozens. The war between Israel and Hamas spills over into other countries. Conditions in Gaza continue to deteriorate. Hamas continues to refuse to release the October 6th Israeli hostages. Hezbollah forces attack northern Israel, leading to massive evacuations. Pagers and walkie-talkies filled with explosives were sent into Lebanon by Israel, probably, where they detonated with devastating effect. And for the first time, a missile fired by Yemen's Houthis landed in central Israel. Israeli special forces raided an alleged missile site in Syria. The innocent and the disempowered on all sides become more and more traumatized, and we fear the conflict will only escalate. Electioneering in our own country spreads false rumors of Haitian immigrants eating pets. Meanwhile, Haiti takes the first step towards, we hope, its first election since 2016. Venezuelan opposition candidate Edmundo Gonzalez asserts he was forced to recognize Nicolas Maduro as the winner of July's election before being allowed to seek asylum in Spain. Peru grapples with the mixed legacy of former President Fujimori, who died at age 86 after serving prison time for corruption and human rights abuses. Rivers of the Amazon basin are at an all-time low as drought conditions grip the region. In Portugal, deadly wildfires rage. In Somalia, climate change disrupts the economy and almost the entire way of life. In Sudan, amid horrific violence, starvation is almost everywhere. And yet, everywhere, there are people of compassion and intelligence working to save and improve lives, succeeding at it in many cases, and making the world a more just and sustainable place. Dear Spirit of love, may we be among them, adding our efforts to the cause of a kinder and more caring world.
May the light of our community shine on the broken places of the world, and may we not look away when we are needed. May we confront what is cruel, heal what is broken, and delight in what is good. We light 3 candles, one for the joys and sorrows shared aloud, one for those shared in writing, and one for those held silently among us. For all of these, we now observe a minute of silence.
May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be whole. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be whole. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be whole. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be whole. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be peaceful and at ease. May we be whole.
The reading is from John Dewey's 1934 book, A Common Faith. It is widely supposed that a person who does not accept any religion is thereby shown to be a non-religious person. Yet religions now prevent, because of their weight of historic encumbrances, the religious quality of experience from coming to consciousness and finding the expression that is appropriate to present conditions, intellectual and moral. I believe that many persons are so repelled from what exists as a religion by its intellectual and moral implications that they are not even aware of attitudes in themselves that, if they came to fruition, would be genuinely religious. I hope that this remark may help make clear what I mean by the distinction between religion as a noun, substantive, and religious as adjectival. A religion always signifies a special body of beliefs and practices having some kind of institutional organization, loose or tight. In contrast, the adjective religious denotes nothing in the way of a specifiable entity, either institutional or as a system of beliefs. It does not denote anything to which one can specifically point, as one can point to this and that historic religion or existing church. For it does not denote anything that can exist by itself or that can be organized into a particular and distinctive form of existence. It denotes attitudes that may be taken toward every object and every proposed end or ideal. We come now to the offering, recalling again the words of the Freedom of Belief section of the UUA bylaws. Congregational freedom and the individual's right of conscience are central to our Unitarian Universalist heritage. Congregations may establish statements of purpose, covenants, and bonds of union so long as they do not require that members adhere to a particular creed. In the spirit of gratitude, of which the offering is an expression, I mention now 3 of the more than 30 items currently on our Singing Gratitude bulletin board. Anne Roseboom for leadership of our MUUVIE group, Adrian Stamper for his leadership of the stewardship team, our church administrator, Tracy Akas, for her calm and curious presence with flexibility, openness, and kindness moving us forward. The offering then is gratefully given and gratefully received.
God is traditionally thought of as a noun. Last week I talked about God the verb. Today, God the adjective. At this point, you might be looking forward to soon hearing my sermon on God the interjection. I'm not planning to do that, although when arguments about God get going, interjections, including expletives, are likely to fly. And speaking of arguments about God, you might remember that last March I gave a sermon titled The Ontological, the Semantic, and the Tribal. I said that an argument about God might be ontological, or it might be semantic, but at root it's usually tribal. An argument about God might start off appearing to be ontological. Ontology is the study of being, existence, and how to determine if things exist. The ontological question is, does an entity exist that knows and desires and creates whole worlds? The argument might then shift into being semantic. What exactly does the word God mean? Is it a legitimate use of the English language to use the word God to refer not to a person-like entity that knows and desires, but only to a source of beauty and mystery, a power of inspiring gratitude, humility, wonder, and awe, an ultimate context and basis for meaning and value, the widest reality to which our loyalty is owed, or the cosmos, all that is, or ever was, or ever will be? Can you say that there is nothing in the universe except what the scientists describe and still call that God? Why do people get riled up over semantic arguments about the word God when no other semantic argument elicits so much concern or passion? I think it's because the real conflict is neither about ontology nor semantics. It's about tribe. Are you in my tribe? Do you speak the tribal passwords, affirming or denying the existence of God, adopting my tribe's definition of the word God? If you're not in my tribe, then we must fight or else avoid the subject altogether. There are meanings of God acceptable within the English language that don't mean person-like or supernatural. So I want to ask you, do you still prefer not to use the word because of tribal identity? You don't want anyone to think for a minute that you might be in the woo-woo tribe. I think for some of us that is the hang-up. We are more interested in protecting our self-identity as members of the no-woo tribe than we are in connecting with other people through the meanings that we share. Awe and wonder and beauty and mystery, source of hope and healing that we call by many names. Let me tell you some of my history with God. The G word and I have had a checkered relationship. When I was in first grade in Pine Tops, North Carolina, where there was no Unitarian Universalist congregation, the neighbor kid sometimes invited me to go along with him to his church. Several times that year I went, and as a result of the instructions given me at that Presbyterian Sunday school, there was a brief period in my life during which I did a nighttime bedtime ritual called prayer. Prayer involved asking someone named God to do for various friends and relations something called bless. By fourth grade, I had left behind that kid stuff. I was then living in a different small southern town, Carrollton, Georgia. Carrollton didn't have a Unitarian Universalist congregation either, but it was an hour's drive from Atlanta, where sporadically I was taken to the UU Church of Atlanta. Soon after learning that there was a word atheist, I decided that I was one. I made this declaration at the UU Church, and no one seemed very interested. I made this declaration during lunch at my elementary school cafeteria, small town Georgia, and a palpable buzz shockwaved through the hall. The news reached an ardent and incredulous girl a few tables over. She arose and, flanked by a silent friend to function as diplomatic observer, came over and confronted me. "You don't believe in God?" she asked. "No," I said, sullenly, suddenly interested in the lima beans on my plate. "Do you know what the Bible is?" she pressed. I offered my considered and scholarly assessment. "Just some book by stupid people," I said sullenly. she gasped. The diplomatic observer gasped. And the two of them withdrew to tut-tut with others over the lostness of my soul and the rift to their social fabric that my apostasy represented. That was the beginning of my career in theology and spiritual hermeneutics. In my remaining 7 years in the town's public school system, I ventured no further discourses on religion, but that was enough. Throughout that time, I was the class atheist. Back then, it was clear what God meant, and it was clear to me that the universe included nothing that instantiated that meaning. Now, nothing about God is clear. There is only ambiguity and mystery, beautiful, rich, joyous ambiguity and mystery. The theist says that there is such a thing, the atheist says there isn't such a thing, and the agnostic says, I don't know whether there's such a thing or not, but they all pretend to know what sort of thing it is they're talking about. The universe, however, is more amazing. Life is more profoundly awesome. And the Bible's authors, editors, and redactors were wiser and more insightful than my fourth grade self was prepared to comprehend. In the years after high school, the issue in my mind gradually shifted from being about God to being about, quote, God, unquote. That is, shifted from the ontological question about the way reality is to the semantic question about the way words are used. Might not the word God be used not to make a controversial empirical claim about what is, but to draw our attention, as a good poet does, to certain qualities of existence, qualities which are not subjects about which to dispute, but are felt reality momentarily overlooked. It's not about being convinced or persuaded. It's not about believing. It's about being reminded of what we already know deep down, that this present moment, if we truly show up for it, is so sweet, so delicious, that we need words like holy and divine and even God to help us notice it. It's not about what exists, it's about the qualities of existence. Is it wondrous, mysterious, beautiful, awesome? Those adjectives are the crux of the matter. And that's why I suggest to you today that God is an adjective. Glenn Thomas Rideout has a poem titled, God is no noun. It's a beautiful and evocative poem, and it is dismissive of the idea of God being an adjective. The poem begins, God is not a noun and certainly no adjective. But I think Rideout overlooks that the qualities of things are more important than the things. It doesn't matter much whether it's a house or a cave if it's luxurious, comfortable, warm, well-equipped, cozy, affordable, sustainable, and conveniently located. It's those adjectives that matter. It matters what we say exists or doesn't exist, but it matters more whether we apprehend that whatever exists, existence itself, is holy, sacred. God is an allusion to the quality that existence has when we are so fully present to it that we perceive divinity there. I will be mentioning two writers, one of them who did not identify as a Christian, John Dewey, and one who did, Dietrich Bonhoeffer. They both support this emphasis on the adjectival, and I will tell you how they do so after our interlude. So, Bruce, how about something whimsical this morning? John Dewey, whose words Elizabeth shared in the reading, said that religion, the noun, didn't do much for him, but he recognized the deep value of religious, the adjective. Religious referred to a kind of experience, a special quality that suffuses some experiences. You don't have to have a religion in order to have religious experience. The noun religion indicates some particular religion, and any particular religion carries a lot of particular baggage, doctrines, rituals, theologies, moral dictates. The religious quality in experience, on the other hand, requires no doctrines, rituals, or moral rules. A religious attitude may be taken toward every object and every proposed end or ideal, wrote Dewey. When something feels profound, or moving, or like a revelation or an epiphany, while on a nature hike or through involvement in some project, we might say it was a religious experience. We wouldn't say it was a religion. An experience has religious quality when it results in adjustment to life's conditions, an orientation, a sense of peace and security, said Dewey. It might be brought about by devotion to a cause, by a passage of poetry, by meditation. The religious quality is a unifying, connecting quality. It reorients us. It brings a sense of peace through awareness of interconnection with everything. Writing along lines similar to Dewey was Dietrich Bonhoeffer, a German theologian and outspoken critic of Hitler, imprisoned and eventually executed by Nazis. Bonhoeffer called for a religionless Christianity. Wrap your mind around that term, religionless Christianity. Bonhoeffer wrote in a letter from prison, "The New Testament must be interpreted in such a way as not to make religion a precondition of faith. Religion," he said, "is only a garment of Christianity. And even this garment has looked very different at different times." I think Bonhoeffer had in mind the same idea that Dewey had, that this noun, religion, denotes some set of doctrines and practices. No single set is necessary for giving experience that religious quality. A wide variety of sets of doctrines and practices can help cultivate the religious quality of experience. In Bonhoeffer's way of putting it, the religion of Christianity, that is, the doctrines and practices, was only a garment covering over the true Christianity beneath, a Christianity that had nothing to do with doctrine or ritual and everything to do with the experience of transcendence in our lives. Christians discarding that garment of their religion, Christians, that is, who possess this religionless Christianity, will recognize that very different doctrines and practices, say pagan ones or Buddhist ones, also facilitate our awareness of that which goes by many names, the oneness of reality, the divine, the ground of being, the transcendent, the awesome quality of the universe, the interbeing of everything, the interconnected web of existence, God. Christians discarding this religion garment, said Bonhoeffer, will cease to regard themselves as specially favored, but rather as belonging wholly to the world. So that's a little conceptual background from Dewey and Bonhoeffer. It seems to me that God as a noun splits us apart. It creates tribal division. God as a noun begs the question, what properties does this noun have? Is God loving or angry and punitive, merciful or just, all-knowing or just very knowing, all-powerful or just very powerful? God, the noun, begs the question, what does this noun do? Does God intervene in human affairs daily, or did God create the universe a while back and is now watching it unfold the way a child watches carefully laid out dominoes fall? While God, the noun, has properties, leaving us humans to argue about what those properties are, God, the adjective, is a property that we can pretty much agree on. Most people in any faith tradition would agree that life and the universe is awesome and sacred. If God is a noun, then we must face the question of whether God is the sort of noun that the Catholics describe, or the primitive Baptists, or the Eastern Orthodox, or the Jews, or the Muslims, or the Hindu. If, for example, you posit God as an ultimate cause, then you can't help but get stuck in conundrums like, well, what caused God? In one form of Hinduism, the earth rests on the back of an elephant. You may have heard the story of the Englishman encountering an elderly woman of this Hindu faith. "What does the elephant stand on?" he asked. "The elephant stands on the back of a monkey," she answered. "And what does the monkey stand on?" "The monkey stands on the back of a turtle," she replied. "And what does the turtle stand on?" he asked patiently. "The turtle stands on the back of another turtle." "And what does that turtle?" he started to ask, and at that point the woman interrupted him. "From there on, it's turtles all the way down." See? That's the kind of conundrum you get stuck with if divine and holy are made into a noun. We get arguments about different conceptions of that noun. Do you believe in God is a question that's used to divide people. I believe in the adjectives, and they tend to be less divisive. I believe in green and growing, dark and peaceful, loving and kind, amazing and wonderful. I believe in the beautiful and the tragic quality of life. I believe in religious qualities. I believe in awesome, in grateful, in hopeful, in joyful. I believe in full. I believe in earthy. I believe in wise and compassionate. I believe in sufficient, in this life, that this world, come what may, is enough. It will do. I believe in a God world, a world not of our own making that supports us and sustains us, which grounds us for the meaningful pursuit of ideals. I believe in the God life, which can be experienced by people of any religion or none, a life of awareness, a life of attention to the interplay of forces, a life of deep sympathy with all of them, even when it does come time to take a stand against some of them. I believe in holy, for each breath is holy. I believe in sacred, for each step is sacred. We have but to be mindful and know it. God, the noun, is an ultimate cause of things. God, the adjective, is a quality we can perceive of the flow of all the causal forces, none of them ultimate, interacting continuously. We experience those forces adjectively, luminescent, transcendent. I'll close with 3 further illustrations of the importance of the adjectives. First, Tagore. He writes, "Is it beyond thee to be glad with the gladness of this rhythm, to be tossed and lost and broken in the whirl of this fearful joy?" Notice that it's the adjectives that convey the force of Tagore's words: glad, tossed, lost, broken, fearful. Second, the well-known E.E. Cummings passage. "I thank you, God, for most this amazing day, for the leaping greenly spirits of trees and a blue true dream of sky, and for everything which is natural, which is infinite, which is yes." It's the adjectives that carry the impact: amazing, leaping greenly, blue true, natural, infinite, and yes, which Cummings is using as an adjective in this passage. And finally, a parable from the Zen tradition. A man fleeing from a tiger came to a precipice. He caught hold of the root of a wild vine and swung himself down over the edge. The tiger sniffed at him from above. Trembling, the man looked down to where, far below, another tiger was waiting to eat him. Only the vine sustained him. And then some mice appeared and began gnawing at the vine. Just then the man saw a strawberry growing near him. Grasping the vine with one hand, he plucked the strawberry with the other. How luscious and sweet it was. Again, it's the adjectives that carry the punch: luscious, sweet. Our time here is short before the mice hand us over to the tigers. All we can do is notice. Notice. Train ourselves to notice the God quality in every luscious and sweet moment. Amen.
We'll be singing from the blue hymnal, number 1008, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place. Please stand if so you are able or willing. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when I trust the wisdom in each of us, every color, every creed and kind, and we see our faces in each other's eyes, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we tell our story from deep inside, and we listen with a loving mind, and we hear our voices in each other's words, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we share the silence of sacred space, and the God of our hearts stirs within, and we feel the power of each other's faith, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place.
Whoops, sorry. Please say with me our unison chalice extinguishing words. As we extinguish the flame on our chalice, we ignite it inside ourselves. Our commitment to our mission and to one another is an unquenchable flame. Until we again relight this flame, we remain together in spirit.
Take courage, friends. The path is often hard. The way is rarely clear. And yet, take courage, for deep down there is also this truth: you are not alone. Go in peace.
Be ours a religion which, like sunshine, goes everywhere. Its temple, all space, its shrine, the good heart, its creed.